Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report with Head Coach Brian Bergstrom. We are coming to you from the Latch Development Building at 111 Riverfront Street in Winona, and we're brought to you by Russell and Associates. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us here today. And we get to talk with Coach Brian Bergstrom for the first time on the show. Welcome to the Coach Bergstrom Show.
I appreciate you having me, Justin. This is a great opportunity to talk about Warrior football.
Now, we have talked once before the spring game that happened, but just in case people weren't around for that spring game, kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so Brian Bergstrom, obviously the new head coach at Winona State, and have had the great honor of replacing Coach Sawyer about 8-9 months ago now, and time flies. So, but I am married to my awesome wife, Kate, and this is a team mission field for us, you know, impacting the lives of our guys through the game of football, and have 3 kids, Creighton, who's going to be a sophomore, and Beckett is going to be a 6th grader, and Berkeley is going to be a 2nd grader here, starting school soon, and we're loving Winona, and we've been in a number of places, but we most recently moved from Brookings, South Dakota. I was at South Dakota State for the last 5 years.
I want to ask you about your history in football, because in researching you, one thing that stood out was when you first tried to play football, you didn't really like it very much. In fact, you kind of left the game.
Yeah.
So how do you go from a person that didn't like football at all to being a college Hall of Famer at Gustavus and now choosing coaching as a career? How did that work out?
Yeah, I think football is a special game, and it's a unique game. And as a 5th grader, the game and I, didn't love each other, I guess we'll put it that way. I just didn't love the physicality of it at the time. And when I was in 9th grade, I was ready for the game of football, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And fell in love with the physicality and what a combination of, there's a ton of science in the game and strategy, but it's so simple and so pure, and it is a violent game, and it is a physical game, and so as a child, I decided not to play, but then came back, but ever since 9th grade year, it has been by far my favorite sport, and passionate about it. And when I got into coaching, it was more because I couldn't see myself being done with football, and I didn't know what I would do being outside the game. And so at the beginning it was for the love of the game, and then as my career has gone on, I still love the game, but it has transitioned to the love of impacting lives through the game, and that is why I do what I do.
Okay, can you expand on that a little bit more and kind of tell us a little bit about kind of your philosophy on coaching and what you expect to get out of your players?
Yeah, I think, well, the first thing you got to understand is what are we trying to do? And I think our goal is different than our purpose. Our goal is to win. It's to beat Minot State. It's to have the best practice we can have today. It's to be the best in the classroom we can be. It's to be the best in the weight room we can be. That's like winning, tangible, outcome-based results. But the purpose is to impact their lives. So in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, they're a better employee, maybe a better husband, maybe a better father, because of what they've learned in the game. And that's why I do what I do. And then in terms of my style, I need and I get to be a great teacher, mentor, motivator, and then kind of an expert in the craft of football, and you combine all those things. Coaching is teaching, and teaching is coaching, and to think otherwise, I think, is foolish in a sense. Our classroom just happens to be a football field or a meeting room, and probably more important than the teaching is the mentoring of our guys, because they're going through life, and yeah, we're striving to win games, that's the goal, but the purpose is to impact their lives. So maybe something in the classroom, maybe something relationally, maybe a great thing that they're going through in their life. And also need to be a motivator. We need to be able to push buttons. I need to be me. I need to be my style and know myself, and our coaches, our assistants need to do the same. But at the same time, I got to know what buttons to push in Johnny versus Jimmy versus Tommy. You know, they're all different. And got to be able to understand the difference of that. And then an expert in the craft. We got to know football, and we got to be an expert in whether for the last 19 years it's been defense, and now as a head coach, I gotta be the best head coach I can be and understand what my job entails and be better at it today than I was yesterday.
Kind of going off that, I want to ask a two-part question. First, what drew you to Winona State? And second, how did you know that you were ready to make that step to be a head coach? Because this is your first college head coaching position.
Yeah. Well, Winona has always been a special place to me. I grew up just south of Minneapolis in Burnsville and very familiar with the state of Minnesota and loved the area growing up. We would travel down here at times and just loved, going through Winona or being in Winona and the bluffs and the river and the outdoor activities. And my mom actually went to Winona State for a short time in college and had youth baseball tournaments and basketball. So very familiar with the area, and then getting more and more well versed in college football. Understood over my career, specifically playing college football and then coaching, how special of a place Winona State is and was, and the legacy that Coach Sawyer at that time was building, and had always known that, man, when Coach Sawyer is done, that would be a great job. And he didn't spend much time thinking about it at the time. I was at a number of different spots. In fact, played against Winona State when I was at Augustana for 4 years, and continued to not only build my respect for the program, but Coach Sawyer, and get to know him and realize that we had a lot of things in common in terms of how you treat people and why you're really doing what you're doing. So that drew my wife and I to Winona State, and being closer to family helped too. We're a little bit closer. But in terms of knowing that you're ready, I don't know that you're ever truly ready until you start doing it. And I probably know that more, 9 months in now than I ever did. So, but we had prayed about it a lot, and probably 3-4 years ago, we knew when the right opportunity came that it was time to jump in, and this was the right opportunity, and we couldn't be more blessed or happy to be here.
Well, you kind of got thrown into the fire right away because the spring game happened and you had that, and now you have your first training camp here. So what was different for you at that spring game and during training camp as a head coach compared to all the other years that you had coached before heading into camps?
Well, I think the game it's still football. Football's football, and you're still teaching football, right? But it was incredibly different from the perspective of you're at a new school and a new institution with a new way of doing things, with a new team. Going from one team of 120 guys to a new team of 120. That's a lot of beating hearts in the locker room, let alone their football skill, just getting to know them. And so that was new. And then a new staff we were hiring, and me being in a new role. It's not like I had been a head coach somewhere else, and at least I'd been a head coach before, and now in a new. So it was like all happening at once. And my family was still in Brookings, and I was here. So it's been a challenge. It's certainly been a challenging 9 months, but incredibly rewarding. But my life has been very different in terms of professionally, what I'm doing every day. I think I still coordinate, and my heart has been, certainly on defense and coordinating a D-line and the linebackers and DBs, and now I'm coordinating on offense, defense, special teams, strength and conditioning, fundraising, athletic training. You have all these different things you're coordinating. So
We only have about 30 seconds left in the segment, and it's kind of unfair to ask this question, but we're a couple days away from game day. How ready are you for game day? Do you have all your lineups, your 2 weeks, everything set?
We're close. We'll be ready on Saturday. I'm glad we still have a week of practice, but we've made huge gains since January, so I couldn't be more excited to be in game week now.
All right, very good. We are going to take a break here on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll talk with offensive coordinator Isaac Frick right after this.
days of classic pro wrestling, you can relive them right here with Classic All-Star Wrestling, featuring wrestling from the 50s to the 90s, the 4 top decades in the history of professional wrestling, from Gorgeous George to New Jack. It's all right here. Classic All-Star Wrestling. Fans, you're not going to want to miss it. Terry Funk, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Jerry the King Lawler, and more.
Have you seen the new Fox Sports app? Check this out. It's been designed so you can easily find everything that's important to you. You get all the top stories and scores, and then you tap here and boom, you're watching sports live on Fox. You can also follow your favorite teams and players and get all the latest news and social updates. There are even bonus cameras. It's got everything. The all-new Fox Sports app. Get it? Use it. You'll love it.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here at the Lash Development Studio at 111 Riverfront Street in Winona. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates. And now we're joined by new offensive coordinator Isaac Fricke, Caledonia Warrior, Minnesota Gopher, Minnesota Viking, Detroit Lion, and now Winona State Warrior. You were the first hire for Coach Bergstrom's staff. Tell me a little bit about that call, since you had a history in the NSIC, and why you decided to come here to Winona State.
Well, just extremely fortunate to have a relationship with Coach and get an opportunity to come home. You know, that's kind of what it was all about. It was a family decision for my wife and myself, and we got 2 boys at home running around, so just very blessed and very fortunate to be able to get a call from Coach and lucky enough to come here.
So growing up in Caledonia, and you had to know a little bit about Winona State, what was your thought about Winona State while you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, great program, tremendous football being played here at, at a Division II level, just extremely high level football. At that time, there was a lot of Plainview, Elgin Millville kids that played here, or La Crescent kids that played here, and they were winning a bunch of championships. So it was a fun product to watch and to follow, and ultimately get recruited by and have a good time. Getting to see those guys play, it was a lot of fun. So.
All right, so Coach Bergstrom, you said this was your first hire on your staff, and you had to hire a full coaching staff. Why Isaac first, and why Isaac altogether?
Yeah, I think whenever you're setting a mission out, and our mission, like we said, is to impact the lives of our guys through football, you got to get the right people on board. And so priority number 1 in building our culture was people. And that starts in hiring and recruiting, and then getting to know the current team. And my priority first and foremost was to hire an offensive coordinator. Given my background on defense, I knew that could wait a little bit. Not that those hires weren't important, but offensive coordinator was first. And Coach and I had gotten to know each other over the years through whether it was playing against each other when Coach was at coaching at Northern Iowa, and I was at South Dakota State, or just following his career and knowing his father for a long time in recruiting at Caledonia. I just knew probably more about him as a person and who he was as a man and husband and dad, and knew that he was a really good football coach too. I could see that. That's the more obvious part. And we had a few conversations, and I think got at a plan, and it ended up working out. So we couldn't be more blessed to have Coach and his family here with us.
All right, let's get your thoughts on the offense. There are a lot of pieces that are returning from last year's team, but obviously quarterback is one that you have to replace, and that's probably the big one. How has the team looked in training camp this year on offense?
Yeah, I mean, I'd even go back to the spring. We've developed and improved so much from that time, just in a sense of our football understanding, our knowledge, but also picking up a new offense. And conceptually, everything has been really a 360 for our guys, because they were used to huddling and hearing everything verbal, or from an auditory side, the quarterback's mouth. And now we're signaling everything, and we're no huddle. So it's just completely different. But they've picked it up really, really well, and have made major gains since the spring, and have gotten a lot better. We're much more physical up front in the offensive line, and that's that's going to pay dividends for us, whether that's in the run game or in the pass game. It's going to help us out mightily. And, I can't praise the guys enough for what they've done, because they've really done a great job and have taken ownership into trying to develop and get better, and ownership into being a different offense, a new offense, hopefully more exciting and just more fun to watch.
So how does this relationship work? Who's the play caller? How do things go?
In terms of
during games,
yeah.
Are you calling plays? Are you calling plays?
So during games, our coordinators are the play callers. So I got complete trust in Coach Frichte on offense and Coach Erickson and Coach Curtin on defense. And my job is to manage the whole game and manage the offense, defense, and special teams. So 100% the Coach Frichte and the offensive staff will be in charge.
And how do you approach games? Do you script a lot of plays at the beginning? Do you kind of see how things go? What's your philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a base game plan that we're trying to put together, throughout the weeks when we're working on, different teams. But we script as much as we can. Today actually met with the quarterbacks and finished up our openers. So we're looking through 15 of our top best plays that we possibly can find, and see how the defense is going to try and match you, and see what your success is or lack thereof, and then make your adjustments based off of that, and some of the tendencies that the defense might be playing with, and see what we can do to try and combat those things, and try and be forward thinkers so that we can adjust in the middle of the first quarter to at halftime, where we're able to write stuff down and formulate some plans to be better moving forward. So, but definitely going to script out, our first 15 plays and have, specific things for third downs, red zone, all that stuff put together and ready. But that could change at a moment's notice. So.
All right, well, very good. Welcome to Minot State, and good luck at Minot State this week.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk defense with Brian Bergstrom and Spencer Erickson. Right after this.
This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings.
Left-handed stroke, a lot of whip, a lot of natural loft to it.
Ever since I started baseball, I've been working hard to reach my goal, and that is one day to get drafted and to make it to the MLB.
A two-seam changeup would be throwing a two-seam fastball.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here at the Latch Development Studio at 111 Riverfront Street in Winona, brought to you by Russell and Associates. We're now going to talk defense, and first we'll talk with Brian Curtin, who's been here for a long time, since 1997, I think, at Winona State. Well, before that, playing, coaching since 1997. What keeps you coming back? What keeps you here at Winona State?
Well, I do. I guess that's a simple answer. That's the easiest question. Tell guys all the time, I never had to work a day in my life.
And what's it like working with a bunch of new coaches, different coaches this season?
It's good. I think you just have the attitude that, the more you know, the more you can learn, the better you're going to be. And I think when you stop learning, you're going to fall behind. So the more things you can learn from different people, you take advantage of every situation like that you get in.
Okay. And Spencer Erickson, you began your coaching career while you were still a student at UW-Oshkosh, is that correct?
Yep, I was a student coach for 5 years. So right out of high school, started coaching in 2012 as a student, and I'm going on ever since.
So when did you know that that's what you wanted to do with your life, is be a football coach?
Since I was about 5 years old. Grew up on the football field, my dad being a head football coach now for almost 30 years. So being at practice ever since I could walk. And I was the only one to coach football, just had to figure out where and how.
All right, Coach Bergstrom, since we asked before, keeping Coach Curtin on, bringing on Coach Erickson, what was the decision to bring these guys here?
Well, really, as I mentioned before, we couldn't be more blessed with how the hiring of the whole staff happened, and defense no different. To be able to combine Coach Curtin's obviously defensive knowledge and what had been done in personnel, but more important than that, just Winona State and the community of Winona. I mean, just an invaluable resource to us as so many new coaches, and then now with Coach Erickson and I spending the last 4 years together in a lot of long meetings and getting game plans together. Just a great comfort in me knowing that Coach knew what we did, and moving forward, we're kind of combining what has been done and what we have done, and it's been a great connection and a great marriage, so to speak, of two really good football coaches coming together with a plan.
All right. From last year's defense, Coach Griffin bring back a lot of pieces. Tell us a little bit about how you think the defense is going to work this year.
I think we, hopefully right where we left off, I think we can continue to improve. I think it's so valuable to be, the guys we return up front is huge. I think everything revolves around what those guys do up front. They set the table for everything we do. Obviously your pass defense is better when quarterbacks are getting hit and laying on their back. Get Clay Sheffner brings, just a ton of valuable experience back with just, he's our signal caller, gets everybody right, does so many of those things, and then, the two guys we've had a lot of guys that played a bunch of football in the back, but, with Mitch and AJ, who really played a bunch. So I think having returners and some guys that have played in our league at every level is huge, and I think just so many guys back up front is always is where you want to start.
All right, and Coach Erickson, your first thoughts on defense and what the defense will be like this year?
I think just overall the leadership and buy-in from the whole group has just been unreal, regardless if it's stuff that we've done in the past and we've kept it, or stuff that we've slightly tweaked and changed for this year. Just overall buy-in and leadership and the come to work every day attitude they've had has just been really a blessing coming in, being a first-time coordinator, co-coordinator. Guys having that attitude to have your back and what do you need from us? More so is what do I need from you? Easier than.
Okay, and the basic defensive scheme, is it going to be the same as it was before, or is it going to be a little bit different this year?
I guess what I'm going to keep saying is to the average fan, they're probably not going to be able to tell a big difference. For myself, for our players, we feel the things that are different, but I don't think people will notice much in the crowd.
Okay, and you as a defensive mind, is that going to be the hallmark of Warrior football, is the defense first and foremost?
Well, I think balance should be our hallmark, and we need to be great on offense, defense, and special teams, and we need to play complementary football. We will play complementary football, and I'm gonna challenge our defense to be the best that they can be, and our offense and special teams to be the same. So, and I would say it's reflected in our practices. We've had great back and forth, and that's what a good team does. Is the offense, has the defense one day, and the defense has it the next day or in a period, and that's great balance. And if you want to be a championship team, you got to have great balance.
Okay, and Coach Erickson, I know you have previous experience in the NSIC. I always like to find out from people that come into this program for being somewhere else what their thoughts were about Minot State, and your thoughts on scheming against Winona State, and now with pieces that you have.
The one thing I remember from my time in the league is just the unreal tradition of tough, hard-nosed football teams that this program has had. Tough defenses, guys that just play really hard. It's not always about the talent level, and everybody's got good players. Just watching how hard these guys played on film all the time was something I just distinctly remember from being in the league in the past, and being from the area, being from Wisconsin. Guys being around guys who went to this program, is the tradition that's been here is something that, as we all know, is pretty special.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and good luck at Minot State this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. And when we come back, we'll talk about this week's opponent, Minot State, that's coming up right after this.
Major League Baseball on Fox and FS1.
Hey, what I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in, just how I do it. Yeah, can't stop, nah, won't stop. Yeah, it's been on live, you don't believe it, just watch.
Jaw-dropping stuff. Major League Baseball all season long on Fox and FS1.
Food, shelter, fast internet. It's all we really need. Good thing HBC has the fast, reliable internet it takes to power all the Wi-Fi hungry gadgets in your home, all at once. With speeds like these, get smooth HD streaming video, gaming, music, and surfing, all with no waiting, no buffering, no kidding. You want it. You need it. Get it. Call or click hbci.com and upgrade your internet today.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report. Head Coach Brian Bergstrom. We're in the Latch Development Studio at 111 Riverfront Street in downtown Winona, brought to you by Russell and Associates. Coach Bergstrom, I like that you kept referencing Coach Sawyer. Obviously, he's a giant in the Winona State program, and it's hard to just kind of forget about him. But, and I don't want to, I want to be reverent in the way that I ask this, but what is Coach Sawyer's role in the program? Because I know that he's still at Winona State as a fundraiser, and he's been maybe the #1 fan promoting the program this summer on social media. What's been his role with the program?
Well, I think ultimately he's a friend. He's a friend of the program. He's a friend to the alumni. He is a friend to me and my family, and him and Connie have been awesome to Kate and I. And so he's out at practice occasionally, and he has good balance in his life. There's positives of the time he's able to gain with his family and grandkids, and as you mentioned, still working hard to raise money for the foundation. But for me personally, he has been so amazing in terms of bouncing ideas off of him and asking him questions, and he's been a great resource to me, and I think our relationship coming in has really helped, and we've certainly grown a lot closer in the last 9 months.
All right, as we said, game day is just a few days away. You traveled to Minot State for your first NSIC contest. What do you know about Minot State, and what do you think game day is going to look like on Saturday?
Yeah, so we're getting to know a lot about Minot State in offense, defense, special teams. Actually, their head coach, Mike Aldrich, and I have known each other for a long time. We're actually both from the same hometown, went to the same high school, and have a ton of respect for him. What we know about Minot the most is that they're a team that plays with great effort, and they are going to be physical, and they're going to fly around, and they're going to know where they're supposed to go, and they're going to be disciplined. And that's all 3 phases of the game. So we're anticipating a great football game against a good opponent, and we got to be our best.
All right, just about a minute left. When is it going to hit you that this is your head coaching opportunity, this is your first chance at this, or has it already hit you?
I don't think it has hit me yet. It's been so surreal for the last 9 months where I have to pinch myself at times, but a week ago, an alum texted, or not a week ago, but on Saturday at 1 o'clock, exactly 1 o'clock, a Winona State alum texted me and said in exactly 1 week is game #1, and that kind of hit me. But I think right before the game, national anthem, it'll probably hit me that, okay, it's go time, here we go.
All right, well, thank you for joining us here today, and good luck against Minot State.
Appreciate it, Justin.
All right, and thank you for joining us here on the Warrior Report. We'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.